Monochromatic art. These are all monochromatic paintings. What do you think monochromatic means? Monochromatic is a color palette used in art making. The hue is the original color. In this palette, the hue is red. When you add white to the hue, it's called a tint. When you add black to the hue, it's called a shade. Pablo Picasso is an artist from Spain. He made an entire series of monochromatic paintings. Art historians called it his blue period. This painting is called The Cellar of Herbs and was painted in 1902. What is the main hue in this painting? If you guess blue, you are correct. How do these paintings make you feel? The one on the left is called The Soup, and the one on the right is called Crouching Woman. They were also painted in 1902. Kids like to make monochromatic paintings too. Let's try to make one together. So for this project, you're going to need a sheet of paper to protect your table, a piece of watercolor paper or multimedia paper. You're going to need white, dark blue, and black tempera paints. You could use acrylics too if you wanted to. A pencil, a small brush and a brush that's a little bit bigger, a small cup or a paper plate for mixing paint, and a cup of water to clean your brushes in the end. So I'm going to take and move everything off to the side. And the first thing I want to do is take my pencil, and I'm going to come down to the bottom of my paper. I don't want to come very high up because I want to have the sky for painting. So I come up just a little ways, and I'm going to make some kind of a curved line. So think of this as going to be your snow. So I might start really low on one side and be up higher on the other, or start high on one and low on the other. But you want it to have some kind of an arch. Okay, so I have my little snow hill. So make whatever snow hill you want. And then you're going to go ahead and get your cup. And your teacher is going to give you 1 drop of white paint. So you only need about that much. And now with that drop of white paint, you're going to take your bigger brush, you're going to dip in, and we're now going to go ahead and decide where we want to put our moon. You could put it on this side, you could put it in the middle, you could put it over here, you could put it down low, up high, any place you want your moon to go. So go ahead and choose your location for a moon, and then you're going to paint a white circle. So I have my white circle painted, and now I'm going to raise my hand, and my teacher is going to come over and bring some blue paint. And you're going to get just 1 drop, the tiniest drop your teacher can give you. 1 small drop of blue paint. And you're going to mix it in. Mix, 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 mix. And now I'm going to paint around my moon. And you're going to notice we put white and blue together. We have a tint. It's a very, very light blue. So we have started with a tint, and we make a circle around our moon. And then we raise our hands so we can get 1 more drop of dark blue paint. Once we get it, we're going to mix, 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 mix. And once again, I'm going to paint around my moon. And some people do like to blend theirs. I'm going to show you how to blend at the very end, so just go ahead and leave it for now. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to raise my hand to get another drop of blue. And I'm going to mix, mix, mix. And you're going to notice that our blue is getting darker and darker each time. And we are almost back to our original color or hue. We're very, very close to getting to our first color that we made. And you have your scratch paper, so it's okay if you go off your sheet. And you're going to raise your hand and get another drop of blue. And there's not going to be very much mixing anymore. You are now to your main color. So we are back to our hue, our main blue color. And so we're now ready to start to turn this into a shade. So to turn it into a shade, the next time you're not going to get blue added in, you're actually going to get a tiny, tiny drop of black. And teachers know that black is very strong, so make this dot as small as you can. So I have a tiny drop of black paint, and I'm going to mix, 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 mix. Now I'm starting to get close to my line down here, and I want to make sure I don't go over it. And I think I could actually use one more shade darker, so I'm going to get one more drop of black paint. And I mix, 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 mix. And now I'm going to go ahead and finish it up, and I'm going to take it clear to where my snow line is. So you see how I've painted my snow line. Now I could leave it if I like those rings and those lines, or I could take and I could clean my brush, and you have to clean it very, very well. In fact, it might even be better to just have your teacher give you a new brush. But if you're good at brush cleaning, you can do this. So you can see I got my brush very clean, and I squeeze out all the water. So you can see I've got my clean brush. Now if I want to smooth it out, I can come back to my middle. I start at my moon, and you see how I can start to soften. So if I don't like those hard lines, I can go in and I can soften them now. And so then it could be a little bit smoother, but it could be whichever way you like it. So now I have my, my moonlight on top of my snow. Now my next step is going to be to go ahead and put in my trees. When I go ahead and put in my trees, I'm actually going to have a little bit of black paint. I don't need very much, so just a tiny amount of black paint. And now I'm going to go to my little brush, and I'm going to dip it in. Now I'm going to put in my big tree first. So it's nice to put your big tree to the side of your moon. So wherever your moon is, go ahead and you're going to go to the side of it. And you want to come down a little ways from the top of your paper. So maybe down about an inch, and you're going to just paint a line with your black paint. And you're going to bring it down into about an inch and an inch away on both sides. Now at the bottom of your line, you're going to make a small smile. So it's kind of like we have a smiling upside down T. You're going to take now and turn this T into a triangle, but you want to keep it skinny. So this is a very skinny triangle that you're making. See how skinny I made it? And then I'm going to fill my triangle in. And I go slow. I do a nice job. Now I have room for some other trees as well. And my other trees, I just want to make them a lot smaller. So I still go ahead and I make that line. So let's say I'm going to put a tree here. I put a smile at the bottom and I turn it into a T and fill it in. I could have one tree, I could have two. If I want a tree to look like it's very far in the back, I make it very tiny. So I still start with that line and a little smile. And I turn it into a bit of a triangle. I fill it in. Now at this point I could stop or I could keep adding more, but I think I like mine with just 3 trees. Now it's really important to let this dry completely before you do your next step. So this is our underpainting. So we're now going to just let this dry. All right, so my painting is totally dry now. So now I can go ahead and start to paint on my trees. And so what I want to go ahead and do is I'm going to be making a tint. So I'm going to take just a tiny drop of my hue or color blue. I don't need very much, just a drop. And then I'm going to take a drop of my white. Now when I mix my hue in with my white, I'm going to have a tint of blue. And I want it to be kind of a nice light blue. I don't want it to be too dark. In fact, I would say that's still a little too dark. I'm going to add in a little bit more white. We want it to kind of match one of our lighter colors in here, our first or our second one. Oh, that one's perfect. Okay. And then I want to kind of clean off my brush on the side. I don't want too much paint in there. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to dip into my paint. Now I'm going to come down, I'm going to do my big one first. And I'm going to find my middle point. So here's my middle point, and it's kind of like we're painting on a mustache. And so I do my mustache over to one side. I do my mustache over to the other side. And so we're going to have little mustaches. And then after I make one mustache, I'm going to go up a little bit higher. I'm going to make another one. And a little bit of black is going to show through here and there, and that is okay. And I'm just going to keep painting little mustaches. You'll notice how we go to the 2 different sides. And I want to make mine a little bit brighter, so I'm going to add in a little bit more. Okay, so that's the first coat. So now I'm going to go ahead and do that exact same thing to my other ones. But when I do these ones, my mustaches have to be a little bit smaller because my tree is smaller. And having a little black show through is actually really great, so don't worry about hiding all of your black. And so every little one that you have, you'll do your brush strokes smaller, but you're going to go ahead and put little baby mustaches on them. And so now I have all of my trees covered, and so now I'm going to get a little bit more white, and I'm going to mix that in. I wipe off my paint on the edge. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in a little bit more, just a few highlights here and there. This is still a hue, it's not the straight white. So I'm not adding in quite as many with this one. And I'm also going to put in my shadow. So I'm going to take a little bit of this and I'm going to pay attention to my moonlight. So my moonlight is coming and hitting this way on this tree. So my shadow is going to be over here. So I'm just going to take and put in a little bit of a shadowy shape, kind of in the shape of my tree. And on this one, my moonlight is going to hit, you can see that it's going to come and hit from here into about here. And so I'm going to take and put in a shadow over here. And the shadow is just kind of a little bit of a messy shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then this one, the shadow is going to be angling, or my moon is coming to here, and my shadow is going to be very little because it's a little tree, and it's going to angle over here. So there I've got my shadows in. Now the very last step, I want to take, and I'm going to get one more drop of white, but this time I don't want to mix it all. I'm going to clean out my brush and squeeze it out so there's no water left in it. And so I clean my brush and I squeeze it out. I don't want any water left in it, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and get some of my just pure white. Now I want to go ahead and play with my moonlight, and so I'm going to have some pure white, but only on this side of my tree because this is the side that the moonlight is hitting. So I'm going to come in and just add some little bit of a mustache over on this side only. Just adding in a few little highlights. And now as we look at this tree, the moon is going to come and hit on this side of it. And so I'm going to get a little bit more white, and I'm still going to go in the same direction as a mustache, but I'm going to do it only on this side, and I'm not going to do it everywhere. You'll notice how I'm just doing a few little highlights of pure white glistening. Now on this little baby tree, it's going to be over on this side, and it's going to really be hardly any at all. Just some tiny, tiny little marks. And there we have our finished painting. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you had fun. Bye-bye.